3, 2, 1, Tetris. All right, folks, welcome to CT2. I am scorekeeper Kurt here on the mic solo. And we're about to start. Looks like everyone's going except for Reid. I will quickly remind him. Oh, it looks like he's just adjusting the music. All right, and all 4 players are off to the races. Here on CT2, we have Zro. Might need to fix that camera angle in just a second. Duke, Roncli, and Reid. A quick reminder that we are using the new point-based format. If you were watching yesterday, know that the point thresholds are different. In this format, 1 million points, i.e. a max out, nets you 2 points on the leaderboard. And every 100K points thereafter earns you an additional point. All right, apologies for the delay, folks. We have fixed Zro's camera. All players making good headway on their path to 1 million points. Reid had to catch some hands on Discord. I see some instigators in the chat. As all players are approaching the 300K mark, save for Duke, who is having a little bit of trouble, is starting to dig down piece by piece. Now has a line dependency, does get the line there. And just like that, Duke continuing to just keep the center well here, aiming for Tetris. I respect it. Zro currently in the lead on this first run here, already at 400K points. As Reid has a bit of an interesting build going on there in the middle, just tuck away the O piece. And Duke continuing to have this well in the center, encountering a drought. Finally gets the line piece, and bam, Tetris. Finally seeing the bottom of the board. So we see Roncli here, nicely done with those clears. Gets a Tetris of his own. And nicely done by Zro. Now it's Reid turns to encounter this 20-piece drought. Isn't quite in position to score Tetris, but All right, players starting to break away from their leads. Zero already almost past the 600K mark. Roncli not too far behind. And Reid and Duke, respectively, struggling to score some points here, having to spend those precious pieces on just getting their board cleaned up. Zero reaches the level 19. Speed finally changes, but does encounter a drought. Thankfully, clears with that Z piece just in time for the Tetris. All players now on level 19, save for Roncli, who I seem to have missed the top out there. Unfortunately, in this format, you must score at least 1 million points in order to be on the leaderboard, so any run that scores below that, unfortunately, not quite going to contribute too much to the score. As Zero enters level 22, having a little trouble here with the left side of the board. Tucks away the T piece, but that hole will come back to bite him later. As Reid enters level 21. And Duke, unfortunately, will have to restart his run there. Throw quickly approaching the 800K mark. Duke restarting his run, nice and clean board. Roncli clawing his way back, and Reid more than halfway towards scoring points on the board. As Zero reaches the 800K mark, only 200K more to go. Unfortunately, Reid tops out here. 573K points. And suddenly Zero is the only person here still on their first run. Nicely done with the J piece, clearing a Tetris. Only 100K points more towards Zero getting his first point on the board. Looking like 2 more Tetrises should do it here. Zero now a single Tetris away from, and there it is, 1 million points. Zero will be the first person here on CT2 to get points on the board. Entering level 29, this is when the real speed starts. Again, folks, every 100K points does score an additional, every 100K points above the 1 million point mark, does score 1 additional point. Zero here doing a great job of down stacking. But if he wants to score more points, it will mean more Tetrises on these dangerously high speeds. Roncli reaching the 300K mark. In good possession to score multiple Tetrises in a row. Droughts notwithstanding. All right, Zero, score of 1,157,300 points. 2 points.
Oh my gosh! Wait.
All right. All right, Zrobot starting his second run as Roncli starts a new run afresh. Reid doing a nice job clearing this board. All right, hopping back in here. Reid with a score of 400K, nearly at the halfway point. Duke and Zrobot on pretty even pace, but unfortunately not on an even board state. Duke going to have to do a good bit of cleanup here. Going to have to bust out the brooms. And unfortunately, Duke tops out here with a score of 262K. Unfortunately, not particularly close towards the max out and with it points on the board. Roncli also restarting here. Gets an unfortunate start to his run. Going to take another mulligan. It's all right. Has 47 minutes. Zrobot telling the other competitors, just lock in. Advice I will have to agree with. Who won Silver Dats bracket yesterday? I will have to double check. But I believe it was the one and only Vince. Reid at 500. It seems like we got some glitching with Reid's board. I will have to double check that. All right. We have confirmed Reid's board is looking as it should here as he enters level 22 with 600K points. Elsewhere on the field, Roncli and Duke in the opening stretches of their fresh run. Zrobot with a bit of an awkward board state, but nothing that can't be cleaned up here. Just has a double line piece dependency, no big deal. Sneaks in a Tetris while he's at it. As Reid enters a drought here. Unfortunately not able to capitalize off the incoming line piece. As Reid enters yet another drought. Unfortunate missed timing with the L piece there on the left. Thankfully gets another L piece to cancel out that mistake. Roncli going to go ahead and restart another run. Zrobot scoring another Tetris, and with it, the halfway point towards more points on the board. As Reid in a bit of trouble, has trouble placing the pieces. And Reid with a score of 684, 215. All right. Zrobot now back in the lead. Roncli, unfortunately, having a tough time finding a run that can stick. Zrobot has a split board in the middle, does sneak a Tetris, but will have to certainly work for it, misplacing that T-piece. Thankfully gets the pieces necessary to correct that. A question from the chat, when is Mr. Genesis playing? Unfortunately, Mr. Genesis is not playing currently. I heard Mr. Genesis stole the playstyle of one Fractal, who I can confirm is helping over at CT3. But my sources have not been able to locate Mr. Genesis himself. We can only hope to see a grand appearance later on in the run. But speaking of later on in the run, Zrobot, a single Tetris away from reaching the 800K mark. Just needs a line piece. There it is, right as the drought was about to start. And just like that, Zrobot is entering level 25. Zrobot having to really work for this clear. Thankfully gets a second line piece, and with it in the 900K range, only 100K points more towards the max out. But Zrobot entering a bit of a drought here. Lots of pieces, lots of lines, but no Tetris. There it is. Just another Tetris and a half till Zrobot can get the max out. There's one. We'll need to build up his board state a little bit for the second. Elsewhere on the board, Duke moments away from reaching the halfway point. And just in time, Zrobot gets the max out. Cowbells ringing in the background as Zrobot has secured 2 more points on the board. Zrobot in level 29, dangerously high speeds, unfortunate mistiming. And just like that, Zrobot scores a final score of 1,030,680, scoring 2 points.
I'm a silver bracket player, so you won't be seeing max outs.
All right. All right, folks, apologies for the delay. On screen we have Roncli and Reid. Duke boldly declaring he is going to start playing better starting now. Oh, okay. All right, Duke restarting his run here. In fact, Reid as well also restarting his run. Roncli making good headway. Just missing the line piece here. Gets 2 in a row, but unfortunately in no position to get a Tetris. Finally does get that with the third. All right. Roncli here, already on level 19. Nearly at 500 game points. Unfortunately has quite a few holes on the left side of his board. Got a bit of a Herculean task to dig himself out of that one, especially with this drought. Roncli unfortunately misses the O piece. Okay. Roncli scoring 495k, 740. Elsewhere on the field, Zro already at the 400k mark, having a bit of an awkward board state here, but drought certainly not helping. Next closest is Reid, off to a strong start. Roncli in a bit of a pickle here. Has built up this board perfect for Tetrises, but unfortunately not getting the line pieces when he needs them. Unfortunate score. Unfortunate run, excuse me, for Ron. Zro also on a bit of a unfortunate tear here. Is going to need a lot of particular pieces. That's a good start. Will need a line piece sooner or later, though. Zro slowly but surely digging through this. Nice tuck. Oh my goodness, barely misses the tuck with the O piece. Zro once again on the back foot here. All right, Zro on level 21 at the 600k mark is getting a drought here. pieces clogging up the right side of this board just a little bit further to gain access to the right side. Finally gets it, but we'll need a few more pieces to secure that position. And just like that, Zro back in prime position. Reid also with a score of 500K with a Tetris, 533K going into level 20. Zro slowly building up his board, scores the Tetris, back to back. Nicely done by Zro. 2 more should put him at the 800K mark. Reid also doing a good job of keeping his board clean, scores another Tetris. Now in the 600K mark. Zro nearly cleared his board. Past 800K. 2 more Tetrises should put him in arm's reach of a max out. Reid, unfortunately, tops out there. As Zro, now in the 900K range. One more Tetris should put Zro at the max out. But we'll have to do some digging first. Honestly, might just reach the max out without it, but just needs a line piece if the Strout will cooperate. And there it is, max out for Zro. Unfortunately, Zro having a little bit of trouble at level 30 here. Pieces dropping faster and faster as he enters level 31. Oh, unfortunate hang. And with a score of 1,071K, 400 points. Zro gets 2 more points on the board for a total of 6.
Thank you for the 10 points for the Alex.
All right, Duke and Reid both restarting. Roncli having an all right run. Just needs to free up that right side of the board. Roncli's highest score thus far is in the 400K range. Just a little bit longer and Ron might reach that. Unfortunately, Will had to put the L piece on the right there, but works out. No line piece to punish that. But also no line piece as we enter a drought here on the side of Ron. There it is, scores a Tetris. And just 3 more away from achieving a new high score. As Duke here having some trouble clearing his board and decides to take the mulligan. Ron already at 438K. Only 50K more points till he achieves a new high score. That's just a single Tetris. And there it is. Although actually barely not reaching a new high score. We'll need at least one more. The piece is not playing nice. With Ron has a setup for another Tetris, but is entering a drought here. Unfortunately, we'll have to burn some pieces, get some placements on the right side of his board, but the drought just keeps on going. Finally in position for a Tetris, just needs a line piece. Ron finally achieving a new high score of this qualifying period. As only 29 minutes remain. Zro in a bit of a pickle here, has to burn some pieces in lieu of a line piece. Does get it, but unfortunate hang with the O. Looking over back at Ron, he is entering level 19 with a drought. Does have the setup, but is going to have to burn much of it in favor of being able to continue. 30-piece drought finally being cleared. Ron's so close, just one more line piece from 600K. Unfortunately, was not in position to do so. Punished once again, but with a third, will achieve it, and with it, level 21. Ron in prime position to continue this run. Builds up, unfortunate placement of the Z piece, and unfortunately will top out there with a final score of 608K 820. A new high score, but Ron, shaking his head, knows he can do better, has 27 minutes to do so. Elsewhere on the board, both Reid and Zro very close, but Reid having to play a little loosely here, has a eyepiece dependency in addition to the Tetris. Good placement of the L and J pieces to prevent the former, and another line piece to achieve the latter. One more Tetris will put him in the 400 score range. Elsewhere, Zro in a bit of a drought of his own, playing with a very high stack here. Unfortunately, no line piece in sight. Gonna have to burn some ammo here. Does get triple with the line piece, but is gonna need at least two more to dig himself out of this one. Does get a line piece, but it might be too little too late. So we'll have to spend the rest of this level digging out of this mess. Zro entering level 19 with 470K points. Reid about to do the same with 440K points. Reid enters level 19, but unfortunately tops out right as the level changes. Drought doing him no favors. Elsewhere, Zro almost at the 600K mark. Has a nice and clean board, scores a Tetris. Just needs an O piece or two to tuck in there. And does. Scores a second Tetris. Unfortunately not quite set up for a third, but still in good position. Zro gets another Tetris, just one more. We'll put him at the 700K mark. Elsewhere on the board, Duke and Roncli doing a good job of keeping their board open for Tetris, but Ron unfortunately misplaces two pieces in a row. That will come back to bite him later on in the run, but still has plenty of runway to remedy that. Zro Carefully building up his board. Unfortunately, was not able to capitalize on that line piece, but is able to do so here. 750K going into level 24. And with that Tetris, level 25 and 800K points. A max out, and with it, more leaderboard points in the future for Zro. Dependent on a few more line pieces or some well-paced LNJ pieces here. But Zro having a little bit of trouble getting his way out of this one. Will need quite a few pieces. Gets one, just needs 3 more. There's a second. Gets a line piece, that's a Tetris. Will have to spend the rest of his stack cleaning up here. So close to 900K, and with it a max out. Plays it smart, down stacking. Finally has a clear board, but will have to spend some levels. Zro scores a Tetris, only 2 more for the max out. Has a very clean board. Things going in his favor. Perfect amount of blocks for the Tetris. In fact, with that, I believe 1 more will achieve a max out. And there it is, max out for Zro. Cowbells ringing, and with it, more points on the board. But Zro going to try and test his mettle, see if he can score another 100K. Unfortunate placement with the line piece. Oh, and unfortunately doesn't get it. Zro with a score of 1,600,100 points. And with it, 2 more points. Zro getting 4 max outs in a row. 8 points on the leaderboard. Elsewhere on the field, Duke having a pretty good run as he goes into level 19. Unfortunate misplacement of the J piece, but certainly has the runway to burn through it. Has a double line piece dependency, but nothing some well-placed pieces can't fix. Duke at the halfway point. That is his highest score thus far in this qualifying period. Duke so close to having a pretty clean board here. But Zro topping out early, but frankly has the points to afford it. Duke entering level 21. Roncli having some trouble with his board. Unfortunately, tops out. Not quite a highest score, but a good run nonetheless. Reid also in a similar situation, in a bit of a pickle. Has a drought, finally clears it, but unfortunately not in a position to score Tetris. Reid having a bit of a awkward stack here. Will be dependent on multiple line pieces, but that's going to be a problem for future Reid. As he actually gets good pieces here, a few more, and he will be in prime position to score some points. Duke here doing all right despite the misplaced piece. Is entering a drought, but honestly might be all right. And just like that, Duke almost fixed up his board state as a nearly 40-piece drought threatens to ruin his run. There's the line piece. And a second one. Duke so close to the 600K mark. He's locked in. trying so hard to just burn his stack, but despite the buildup, no Tetris in sight. Gets three line pieces in a row. And just like that, Duke finally with a clean board state. Elsewhere on the field, Zro at level 19 with 280K points. Duke doing a phenomenal job of keeping his board state clean. Zro unfortunately tops out, as does Roncli. But Duke, frankly, on fire here. Finally in position for a Tetris, but a drought. Sorry? Duke scoring 635K and 300 points. Highest score thus far in this qual. Nicely done for Duke. Zro, Ron, and Duke. Your highest qual ever. Wow. Duke letting me know his PB is 669K. Very, very close. A phenomenal run for Duke. All players not named Reid going into their board. Zro with an unfortunate series of events here. Will have to spend the beginning of his run digging. Scores a Tetris there. Nicely done. Elsewhere on the board, Reid finally gets a Tetris thanks to the line piece and gets a back-to-back. Nice Tetris for Zro. Duke having a dangerously high stack here. Right side is blocked up, and unfortunately, his run will end there. 17 minutes left in this qualifying period.
That game was Scott's lowest game out of the 4 that he's played. It's so hard to believe. Some players would just love to have a score like that. We have the dog eye from yesterday.
16 minutes left in this qualifying period. Roncli starting a fresh new run. Reid, were it not for this drought, would be in a great position to score some Tetrises. Reid's highest score, recorded score for this qualifying period is 684K. Reid getting some unfortunate pieces. Does get a Tetris, but we'll need another O piece to establish a board state there. Unfortunately doesn't get it, so we'll simply cover up the rest with L and J pieces here, as O and I pieces nowhere in sight. Seriously, Reid hasn't gotten a single O or eyepiece. There we go. Finally gets an eyepiece. Another one for the back-to-back Tetris. And the first O piece in quite some time. Reid a single Tetris away from being at the halfway mark. Some unfortunate placement, but does have the wherewithal to correct it. In position for a Tetris, scores it. Actually barely does not hit 500K. My apologies. Reid once again set up for a Tetris and gets it. Halfway to a max out. Elsewhere on the board, Zro and Duke in the 200K range. Zro having some trouble solving this board, just isn't getting the right pieces. We'll have to burn a few lines. Duke, on the other hand, has a very clean board as Zro tops out. On the bottom half of our screen, Roncli in a bit of a drought. Is going to have to start burning some pieces, but unfortunately, it might just be too little too late. And Roncli tops out. To his right, Reid approaching a 41-piece drought. And unfortunately, no position to score any Tetrises as the stack scores higher and higher. And unfortunately, Reid tops out as well. In fact, all 4 players going to go ahead and start a fresh new run. 13 minutes left in this qualifying period. Plenty of enough time to score another point or two. Duke and Reid at the 40K point range. Roncli at 100K. And Zro starting a fresh new run. All players trying their best to clear their awkward board states. Roncli achieves it, but is in the middle of a drought. Duke gonna need some L and J pieces here. Does get it. Nicely done by Reid. Scores a Tetris and clears his board at the same time. Zro also getting a Tetris here and the back-to-back. Nicely done. Zro already at the 100K mark. Unfortunate placement by Ron. We'll have to spend some pieces to fix that up. Reid in position to score a Tetris, but drought preventing from doing so. Finally gets it. As does Ron, dirty Tetris. But now we'll have to spend the rest of his pieces clearing his stack. Puts a line piece all the way on the left, but that will cause him some heartache later on in the run. Reid has a good and clean board state, as does Duke. 10 minutes remaining in this qualifying period. Reid and Roncli on good pace.
This is in 60 minutes, so it's a full 30 minutes less, which in the case of the additional games, that really puts into perspective how insane this play has been this qualifier. Right. This route, he's been playing excellent so far.
All players well into their respective runs. Reid gets a nice Tetris here. Roncli about to do the same as soon as he can get a J piece. Unfortunately, not getting it thus far. Zrobot dangerously low. Needs an I piece and needs it really soon. Does get it, but not at the right time. Zrobot, unfortunately, not able to make it out of that one. Elsewhere on the board, Reid at the halfway point. Once again, Reid's highest score recorded for this qualifying period is 684K. As we start to head into the 8-minute mark, Roncli in a pretty good position here. Has a pretty clean board, is set up for multiple Tetrises, just needs the line piece, but finally gets it right there. Roncli's highest recorded score thus far is in the 600K range. Zrobot already in some trouble here at the beginning of his run. Gets 2 Tetrises, nicely done. 9th column finally open up. Will need some particular pieces to be able to manage that one. Burns a no piece there. Nice team spin by Zrobot. But unfortunately in the middle of a drought does finally solve it. Elsewhere on the board, both Reid and Roncli reaching level 20. Unfortunately, Ron not able to move the piece in time. Will top out here. Reid gets a Tetris. Reid has a pretty good board state. Just 1 Tetris away from achieving a new score for this qualifying period. Has a clean board state thus far. Is now in position for the Tetris and gets it. Reid officially breaking ground on the leaderboard. As Duke unfortunately tops out. Reid trying his best to get the sports stake back in order. Nice piece placement there. We'll need a few more in order to put himself in Tetris range. Just like that, in position for a Tetris. He is already past the 700K mark. Needs to score just 2 more Tetrises to achieve a new seed. A few more past that, and Reid might be able to make it into the gold bracket. Reid already in 700K range, does misplace the T-piece, but still has the bandwidth to work through it. Reid in a dire position here. Unfortunate piecement, but does manage to finesse the eyepiece. Can he nudge pieces? Managed to get a flat stack, but unfortunately unable to do so. The score of 782K, 110 points. That will pull him squarely in the gold bracket, assuming there are no further upsets during this qualifying period. Reid officially in 16th place. 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying period. All right. 4.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying period. All players starting off with a new game. These players will have about a game and a half to score even higher than they have previously. Unfortunate piece placement by Ron. Drought certainly not helping. But that's all right, Ron. You got 4 minutes. We believe in you. All players off to a good start here. Zrobot having some awkward hangs, but nothing that can't be fixed. Nicely done, just needs an O-piece, gets it. Bam, Zrobot back in position. Three minutes remaining, as all these players will have to contend. Unfortunately, Roncli misplacing with the L piece. Only has 2 minutes and a half to try and bring this back. All right. Duke in a little bit of an awkward board state. Drought not helping. Does get the J piece and a line piece. Nearly in position to do away with this foul board state, and does do so. Gets a Tetris. Reid gets the Tetris of his own. 2 minutes remaining on the clock. This is likely all players' last game, provided there are no intentional top outs. Reid in a bit of an awkward position. Gets a Tetris here, but minute and a half remaining. Players will soon have to make their final decision. Do they want to continue to play this particular run, or do they want to give it a mulligan? All players focusing in as we enter the final 60 seconds of this qualifying period. Reid scores a Tetris, but has 2 holes in as well. Gonna burn some pieces to clear it up, but we'll need the line piece. Gets it. Reid's board state looking dire by the second. Pieces stacking on the right side. Burns a few pieces to remedy that. .20 seconds remaining. Duke and Ron entering their final games of this run. Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just like that, we are officially in overtime. Reid, unfortunately, has a drought here. Timing could not be any worse. Gets a line piece in the right position. Unfortunately not able to capitalize off the second one. double O pieces. Going to throw a wrench in Reid's plans. Finally gets the line piece and with the Tetris. Elsewhere on the board, Roncli starting his final run at level 9. Going to go ahead and take this time. Zro with the nice back-to-back in the 450K range. That's perfect, exclaims Zro. As Duke tops out, Duke's final highest score for this qualifying period is 635K points, putting him right in the middle of the silver bracket. Reid, Ron, and Zro continuing their march towards a higher score. Reid on a pretty good run. If he can get some L pieces here, does get it alongside the O. Does have a line piece dependency, spends it on the right. Reid almost in position for another Tetris. Will need an L or J piece, places it there. Drought commencing, but Reid playing it safe, burning the L piece on the right rather than risking it all just for one Tetris. Zro at 550K. On pretty good pace for a max out. As Zro gets another dirty Tetris, but having quite a few dependencies here. And Drought not helping whatsoever. Zro in position for an awkward Tetris, gets it. O piece unfortunately not in sight. Instead, another line piece will grace Zro's queue. Zro back with a somewhat usable board. Reid clearing his board to be nice and flat. Again, Reid's highest score thus far is 782K, meaning he is only 2 Tetrises and some change away from achieving a new high score. Ron continues his level 9 run. Reid scoring a Tetris. Only 2 more remaining. As Reid enters level 26. Reid finally in position to score that Tetris. Unfortunately, will have to spend the eyepiece on the left. Reid a singular Tetris away as he enters level 27. He's in position, he's line piece, gets it. Reid officially in the 800K range, not only scoring a new high score, but placing himself firmly in the gold bracket. Zro also in the 800K range, but has a bit more of an awkward board state. Needs the right piece at the right time. Zro definitely moving his pieces, but not getting what he needs. Reid continuing. Ooh, unfortunate misplacement of the S piece, but nice spin. And just like that, Reid scoring 899 points. Or excuse me, 899,800 points. Just 200 points shy of the 900K mark, but if my math is not mistaken, he has barely eked it out above Ninja, placing himself in the 15th place. Other scores put aside. Zro enters level 29. Almost at another max out. Just needs a down stack here, but is not getting the pieces. Needs an O and an I piece. Zro continues his down stack, but he needs an I piece and he needs it now. Gets it, but unfortunately not able to do so, Zro. Zro enters into the gold bracket with a total of 6 points, with his kicker in the low 900K range. Just realizing I misspoke. Zero has a total of 7 points. 7 points. Well, regardless, that puts Zero in the 8th seed. Ron continues his level 9 run. As Ron finally reaches level 10 here, scores a Tetris. Elsewhere on the board, Oop scores a max out. Cowbells ringing.
I think I left it on. Did you get my
Oop with the pop-up of his life. Oop very, very happy with his performance. Oop's final score is 1,040K 760.
The last game. My first the last game was a max out. My
There's a lot of excitement in the air. We're about to get some excitement now. Once again, level 29.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it. It was insane. Holy cow.
Oop feeling at the top of the world here. As Ron continues his run, now level 13. Matches finishing elsewhere. Ron continuing his run on level 14. Unfortunately not in position to capitalize off the eyepiece. Leaves some space on the left side of his board. A little unconventional. And now has a second line piece dependency on the right. As Ron enters the drought. And Ron scores a Tetris on the right side. We'll need just a few more to clear his left. All right. Ron unfortunately tops out. Ron's final score is 608K points. Very well played by both players. Or by all players, excuse me. And with that, the qualifying period has now officially ended. So we will hop over to a quick break. I've been Kurt. It's been a pleasure yapping here on the mic. And stay tuned for our silver bracket. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you all later.
Was that it? Did we end on a good note here on CT2?
Yes, indeed, we did. Got some pretty clutch plays.
Oh look, they turned the bracket red. That looks awesome.
Nice. Got to rep the Genesis color scheme.
Oh man, game 1 is gonna be me versus Dog. 16th seed versus the number 1 seed. Last year I was the 16th seed, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to face the number 1 seed again. Again. I was really trying to hope. Well, Reid did what I wanted him to move me down the seed, but then I just needed one more person to move me down. So it is what it is. I will see you guys later. Thank you, Kurt.
Thanks.
I hope
Ninja
you had a
Ninjas.
great job doing this.
Yeah, had a good time.
Awesome.
Nicely done.
Nicely done.